think we are live. Good evening. Let me make sure because I don't see the stream at all. I don't see the stream. It says we're live, but I don't see the stream.
I got it. Nice.
You got it? Okay, got it. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everyone in La La Land, in Facebook land, in YouTube land, all over. I want to welcome you to another installment of the Leo Gilling Show. We are live on YouTube and we are live on Facebook. Facebook being our major viewership. And I have this evening with me some of the most well-coordinated ladies. All right, so we have four or three so far senators. They made history. They're trailblazers. The first time in history that any party has had 50% of its senators all female. This is big time. We're gonna look at that. We're gonna ask you to participate in the discussion. We also want to find out about these ladies. How did they get there? Which part them are come from? Right? Let me see. 1 second. Let me make sure that we are okay. Yes. I want to find out which part them are come from, which country, because we sure say 3 of them come from St. Mary, right? Positive, they didn't come from St. Mary. Only 1 come from Clarendon, and I can tell you that, all right? Welcome, all 3 of you. I'm going to have you just introduce yourselves and tell us where you're from. You grew with your grandma. What are some of the little idioms that grandma used when she beat you? That kind of stuff. All that good stuff. I want to hear that because the people want to know. All right. So let's start with Donna.
Oh dear, I was hoping you would leave me for last. Well, I'm Donna. And that's actually how I like to be introduced. Just
okay. All right.
I grew up in the country. I'm a real original country girl. I'm not posing as one. I tell them that the place that I lived most of my life is not yet on the map. No, but I grew up in a little district called Woodhall. And before that, in Mount Providence, because my parents were teachers. So, they moved from one school to the other. My father was a headmaster. I went to Clarendon College. That is something that I'm so proud of. I wear it like a badge of honor.
Oh, you're not the only one.
I know. I know. It's like a cult.
It really is.
So, I didn't know any of my grandmothers really.
Oh.
My maternal grandmother was very, very ill and bedridden when I was a child. And I actually met my paternal grandmother at the same time as my father met her. Because my father was born in Cuba. His father was a policeman who got killed 3 months before he was born. And so he was sent home to Jamaica to live with his grandmother. So he and I met his mother at the same time when we journeyed to New York to meet her. So I'm sorry, Leo. I have grandmother tales to tell you. But I can tell you that the biggest influence in my life was my grandfather. Oh. And he had a shop in the district, which literally means he made no profit because he took care of everybody. He was also a shoemaker. And I can tell you, he could only write his name. But he was so profoundly intelligent and so wise that I learned most of my morals and my attitude to life. I gleaned from him because I was his pet, real pet.
Yes.
So when he would be coming from shopping, because they would go shopping in the truck, the market truck, And every time he was reached our house, because we lived in the teacher's cottage, I would hear the horn and I would fly out of the house because I would be getting candy, I would be getting money, and I was the only one who was totally spoiled. So if my parents annoyed me, I would say to them, I'm leaving, I'm going to Papa.
Yeah, you sound spoiled, but true.
Yes, he was the only person trust me, he was the only person who spoiled me.
All right, so so sorry, Sophia and Janice. I'm saying that because it's easier, right? Instead of saying Senator Janice, Senator, I want to just say, her. All right, so I'm so sorry, Sophia and Janice. I'm going to move from the most experienced in the Senate to the youngest, right? I don't know that we have ever had a person in the Senate who started when she or he was 23. Have we had that before, Donna?
Not as far as I'm aware.
Right. Okay. 23.
And so Senator Gabriela Morris has made history, and I hope has motivated a lot more young people to come into.
Boy, I'm looking forward to that. Gabriela, talk to me. You heard Donna's story.
Hi, Leo, and hi, MH. She knows that's her name. Hi, Janice. Hi, Sophia. It's really good to be here. I caught on to the question. I think we're discussing the most influential persons in our life.
Yeah, we want to know about if you come from country, if you climb tree, what you do on Labor Day, that kind of thing, all of that stuff, right?
Wow. So I guess people would say I'm a country girl. I'm from Montego Bay City, like Janice.
Oh!
Yes, we actually went to the same high school. So I guess I'm a quote unquote country girl. I never really had the upbringing of, doing the whole tree climbing thing. I grew up in concrete jungle, so I never had that. Apart from the few times I would, spend the holidays with my grandparents. So, that was really my small exposure to country. Outside of that, I grew up in the city. Very involved in my community from an early age. Very involved in probably everything. I was a Nuff Pitney from the get-go, right out the gate. I was Nuff. I wouldn't say talkative from the get-go, but I think I developed that over the years a little bit. And just, very, very, very self-aware, even as a child. I think I got that, from growing up in a household with two parents who were teachers, who really encouraged me to, express and to try new things and to talk. So it wasn't that kind of thing where, children must be seen and not heard. No, I was that child who would ask the face the questions, and then just go back to being quiet. So, I grew up very much like that, being outspoken, but, still being, I think, introverted in a sense. And I still kind of have that personality till today. I grew up in Montego Bay for most of my life.
So you're not gonna brag about the high school that you went to? Which high school was it?
The Montego Bay High School for Girls. Wow. I just had to. I was getting there. So I did my 5 years at the Montego Bay High School for Girls. Bless that institution. I think it's really the place that helped to mold me into a young woman, helped to really unearth in me the leadership potential that was there. So I have to credit Mobe High for a lot of who I am today. It's really that place where you develop into the quintessential woman, with dignity and decorum. So I had to put that in there.
All right. That sounds good. I was in Montego Bay when Barbara Smith was the principal back way then. Yes. Oh, you were? Okay, Janice, go ahead.
Wow. Hi, Leo. And
Hi there.
thanks for having me. This is quite an exciting time. I am grateful to share whatever I can.
Yes.
And so, yes, I'm Janice, and I am also from Montego Bay. I'm from Montego Bay, a place in Montego Bay called Granville. Both my parents are from Granville, and all my grandparents are from Granville.
Okay, let's put this straight. I went to Sam Sharp Teachers College. You know that, sir? Yes. Yes. All right. All
Oh,
right.
so yeah, we are connected.
Yes, we are. Big time.
They well my and I have a little connection to Sam Sharp Teachers College with being at the time it was built. My father was the counselor for the area in Granville for that division,
Who's
and
your father?
Glover Allen.
Oh, okay. Oh my, I remember. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Look at
ahead.
that, right? I'm from Montego Bay, went to Montego Bay High School, and I was there at the time for Mrs. Barbara Smith, who was the principal.
Okay.
I grew up in a family that has always been politically involved, both sides, both my mother and father, and everybody grew up just knowing and being involved in politics and an awareness of the importance of politics in the shaping of a country. Like Donna, I had a very close relationship with my grandfather. Well, I only knew my father's father. My mother's father died before I was born. But my grandfather, Papi, was, I had a special, well, I thought I was his favorite, mainly because we were born in the same month. Obviously, I mean, really, I must be his favorite. And he was the one that we would all go to, and I would try and do things like chew tobacco like him because I'm
Oh.
happy. So,
Oh.
you have to,
Yes.
everything he does, I would want to do.
Okay.
And he was a blacksmith, self-taught in terms of, he only knew how to read the Bible. And that's the only book that he would read. And he could quote from the Bible and still quote Shakespeare and all of that, but he was not formally trained.
Okay.
From a family of artisans, my father and his sisters and brothers they grew up being artisans. They would make furniture, wrought iron furniture. And back in the 60s, they even used to export to the Caribbean and also to North America. So I'm also from a very entrepreneurial family. And maybe that's why I do what I do now, which includes some of that. You mentioned something about Labor Day. Oh my goodness, Labor Day is a big deal in my family. And obviously, because of our political involvement, my father would instill in us the importance of Labor Day. And I have memories of working with him. And this past Labor Day, I went out and did what he would do. He passed away last year. So my responsibility is to carry on his work. And that would have been part of how I ended up where I am today. So I'm looking forward to sharing more. So I'll pass it on.
I'm really excited. You know why I'm excited on this one here? I'm excited because about you. Because you said Granville.
Yes, yes.
Granville is a very desperate when I was growing up was a very desperate area. Many persons didn't expect anybody good to come from Granville, and so to see that you have transitioned outside of there and has moved into an area that you can set the example for the kids who are there know that they can do it. You know, I used to teach kids on the college campus, go to Granville, bring them up, and they would do their JSC and so forth. But Granville was a desperate area. I'm not so sure what it is right
And I'm still there.
now. Oh my God, that's really nice.
Still there.
That's really nice to hear. Wow, Sophia, your time. It's time that we all drop. Oh, we have Lady Diana here with us. Good evening, Diana Davis Smith. Diana, I think Diana is like one of those persons who breathe and preach and smell Clarendon College. So she's Sophia. One minute, let me go to Sophia first, and then I come back to you. Sophia, let down your hair.
Well, not as exciting as Donna's and Janice, but I am from the Garden Parish of St. Anne, a little district called Brownstone that has the feet of the best grand market ever in Jamaica.
Some here.
So I'm from Brownstone. I went to the great Westwood High School for Girls in Stewarttown, Trelawney. This year we happened to celebrate our 140th anniversary. Shall I continue?
Oh, wow. Yes.
Um, I actually grew up with my mom and my two grandmothers, my maternal grandmother. The greatest impact on my life really is my mom. A little known fact is that I am adopted. And because of that, yes, and that just being a part of that family from a very early age has really impacted me and has influenced my thoughts and my values and my morals. And in fact, everything I do comes back to where I am coming from and the experience I've had in my family. And growing up in a family with my grandmother, we call her grandma, and my other grandmother, mama, we learned a lot about family. So for me, the biggest thing really is family. So my mom would tell me that, you know, your sisters, I only have sisters, and she would say your sisters are really who you have in life, and you should love them and care for them and stick with them. So those things, we also spoke a lot about politics in my family. My mom was a civil servant, so she could not have been an activist at all. She was a truly Westminster kind of civil servant. But we spoke openly about politics, and we were encouraged to share our views on politics. And it just so happens that all of us are PMP. So we didn't have much conflict in terms of where our thoughts were. But we would look at government policies over the years and would talk about them. We would look at what was happening in the world and we'd have discussions. So my fondest memory are like when we did not have light, whether because of hurricane or JPS just decided to have a blackout, and we would sit on the veranda for hours and we just talk about it and everything. And I shared with my colleagues the other day that grandma, one of the things that we used to do, particularly during independence, because she died at 99 years old, but her memory was just still intact. And we spoke a lot about independence. We spoke about pre-independence, we spoke about post-independence. And often just to hear from her how life was then and how she felt things have evolved over the many, many years. And, you know, it is the combination of all those experiences why I believe that compelled me to do public administration when I went to UE and then later to do law. But it was also a sense of parents taking care of their children, which compelled me to do law. In fact, I recall wanting to do law because I believe that fathers should take care of their children. I still believe that, but my views and my reason for doing law now has, you know, changed over the years. But it's really started because of a sense of family and responsibility, which started at an early age through my mom and how she grew my sisters and I. So
I am so touched. Things that roll all through my veins right now because you're from Granville and you are adopted. I mean, we're generally we don't see people like you excelling in the arenas. It's like almost almost
They,
yeah. Please
they
help me.
are an amazing team of women.
Yes.
Each one brings to the table extraordinary qualities. I'm so proud to be with them at this time. In
Yes.
fact, Sophia has been in the Senate the longest.
Oh, actually. Oh my God.
Period.
Okay.
And let me tell you something she's not going to tell you that I found out about her. She actually used to play football. No, if you look Gabriela, you didn't know that, right? When she was at Cave Hill, used to play football. No, the reason why I say that is, the Westwood girls with their little hats and how.
Yes.
Can you imagine her playing football?
Oh, so what are they? Let me ask you this then. Was the sister okay with that? The principal? Sophia?
What's interesting, Westwood is not a Catholic school. It's a combination. We're from
Baptist. Okay, yeah. That's right. That's all. Okay, more loose. Okay, got you.
We had to worship at all three churches in Stewarttown. So every Sunday morning, we'd be decked in our hats and our white dresses, walking through the Stewarttown village, going to the Methodist church or the Anglican church or the Baptist church. So because of that, when Donna heard that I played football, that she was like, "You play football?" But I played in Barbados when I went to do law, because at the time Donna and I did law, all students had to go to Barbados. So, we had this inter-country football competition every year. And so I played for Jamaica and Barbados. And I was the leading goal scorer in my year.
What? All right. Okay, so Diana, I would allow you to speak right now, but what I want from this discussion is, don't feel that you have to wait to speak. Stop your colleagues and speak. Don't sit and wait, because it gets boring that way. Just stop them and say, "What am I?" No. That's not how this thing go. My point, that's what I want. Okay, so please just open discussion with everybody. Don't be afraid. That's what I want. All right, Diana, please go ahead and tell them who you are, and please don't mention anything about Clarendon College. We already hear it.
All right. Thank you so much, Leo, my dear friend, ex-friend. You know I went to Clarendon College. And then when I went to Clarendon College, Anna was not at Clarendon College.
Believe it or not, I
All
was not.
knew of Donna Scott, who had passed through that institution, and everybody should strive to be a Donna Scott. There was no Donna Scott when I got into first form. Absolutely none. And there was a yearbook that would pass down through the first form block to say, read this, which was written by Donna Scott. Let's know it.
Oh, is that right?
But fortunately for me, I knew Donna Scott before that, and I've always known her. She's a wonderful, wonderful soul. And I couldn't resist the temptation to join the conference just so I could be in the same group here with our senators. I see that everybody is being politically correct, excepting me. But please excuse me.
Diana shares a couple of shows.
To work today, and so that's why I'm still in it.
Well, we were totally surprised that so many of us, when we saw the color coordination.
It's all Leo, Imaba, and
Blue. Blue, exactly. At the tone of, stay back. Yeah.
So I can identify with you. I'm adopted as well, but I grew up not even recognizing that there was any difference about it. And I'm happy that someone at your caliber can speak openly about it, because the truth is that there are times when we really don't want to share our stories. Yes. So I celebrate that. Boy, you're bad for go play football.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to just throw this out there. Senate. There's a parliament and there's a senate. What the difference is, what to do in the Senate versus where are laws made? How do we know when the law? You have so many questions. Please help me, somebody, because I'm totally confused. Okay, help me.
From Sophie.
No, that's why I need to teach.
Amongst us.
Go ahead, Gabriela.
No.
Oh,
no, Donna's taking that one.
Okay, she got it. Okay, all right.
Okay, Sophie, it's the first I've told you to do something and you have openly defied me. In the Senate, of course, they call me Mother Hen, and they all allow me to instruct them.
Okay.
So the Parliament is actually comprised of the House of Representatives and the Senate. Yes. And the House of Representatives are the elected members. So when you vote for your member of Parliament, you're voting for somebody who goes to the House of Representatives, which is referred to as the lower house. The Senate is selected. We don't have to run for office. We are nominated by the leader of government and the opposition. So there are only 21 persons actually in the Senate. And so 13 from the government side and 8 from the opposition. So that is why we are telling you that you have half of the government of the opposition Senate here.
Yes.
Now, when the House looks at a bill, it comes to the Senate, and that is my opinion, and I'm sure the others shared my view, is when you really get deep scrutiny of the legislation.
Okay, so that's why it's the upper house, because a bill will leave the Parliament and ending this Senate. And that's where it goes into. I'm sorry, I just want to.
Yes, Sophie, come join in.
Yeah, the path.
Yes, no, Donna, I was just adding that it is often said that the Senate is the review chamber.
Yes, because and as a matter of fact, people will say, okay, we know when it reaches the Senate, they'll take care of it. So it doesn't,
Oh, okay.
we do a very detailed analysis of the legislation. We
Oh,
review the legislation and we make changes to it if
okay.
we think that it is appropriate to do so before we agree. So what happens is that we debate it, huh? Not everybody participates in a debate. You might participate in a debate where you have a special interest. I think it's true to say that in the state of emergency, almost every single person speaks.
Yes, I remember that.
Every single person speaks. Huh?
And the budget.
In the budget.
If I could add to what Donna and Sophie just mentioned, I remember when I was first asked it was introduced to me, the idea of being in the Senate. I was very intimidated by the process or the idea of being in the Senate because of exactly what Donna just said and Sophie in terms of the review chamber and the requirement of the Senate to debate and go in greater detail of the bills. I thought I needed to be a lawyer, like Donna or like Sophie, that's the only way I could, in a fulsome way, contribute. But I've come to fully appreciate the process and be less intimidated by it. And each day I grow more appreciative of the honor that has been given to me to serve in this capacity, because every law that is put, every bill that becomes a law and impacts the lives of Jamaicans, we have the honor of reviewing it to make sure and contribute to ensure that it is the best and most reasonable piece of legislation that will impact the lives of all Jamaicans. And so I'm less intimidated by the legal wranglings of it, but more inspired by the fact that it is the review of simple documents and how they can impact each person. So everybody has a different eye to look for different things. And not all of us, like Donna said, will contribute to the debate of a particular bill. But because of our varied interests and background and whether you've been in business or politics or engineering or the arts, everybody has something to contribute to that debate.
So,
Leo, I wanted to just add to. Oh,
no, go ahead, Gabriel.
I wanted to add that, for me coming in, I shared a similar sentiment with as Janice, because, being so young, I was like, how am I going to get this? But I tell you the truth that it's becoming a little bit easier for me. And I think I owe that to the fact that my colleagues, Donna is really mother hen for all of us, and she makes the process a little bit easier by, helping us to see the routes that we can take it from. And that has helped me greatly. Another thing that I realized, and I think it was Lamy who shared this with me when I just came, and he said, all the laws impact people. Just remember the people every time, you rise to contribute to a debate. And I think that has helped me to kind of frame, my positions a little bit better, always bring it back to the people. Okay. And outside of the Senate, one other thing that I want to mention is that we have committees. So we sit on committees of Parliament. And I think I especially enjoy two of the committees that I'm on. Sometimes, the debate gets a little bit fiery, but it's also a good place for young legislators to really learn and to be in the trenches and to get, a good idea of what the Parliament actually does. So I'm enjoying that process. I mean, it's a learning curve for me, obviously, but, having good colleagues, it really helps to make the journey easier.
You were going to say something.
Yes.
Sorry.
Donna, sorry.
I was just going to add also that even if we don't speak in a debate, even if we don't participate, we have carefully looked at the legislation.
Okay.
And we have made in amongst ourselves points which other persons might be able to refer to. But the guiding force is we took an oath to uphold the Constitution of Jamaica. And in upholding the Constitution of Jamaica, it's of paramount importance that we protect the people. Sometimes the people don't even know that they are in need of protection because they don't know what unfair and discriminatory legislation can mean. So we have a really serious responsibility. A lot of people say, I want to be a senator, I want to be a senator, and think it's a glamorous thing, but it's really hard work and requires a lot of commitment.
Diana, go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity just to be here. Janice, when you said that some people participate, not everybody participates in the debate, I feel I right off my head, I thought, oh, some walkout. But I want to go to Gabriel's sharing that you sit on multiple committees. Are these committees with other, only from your party side, or the committee is composed of persons throughout the Senate?
Usually what happens,
Oh, go ahead, Sophie.
right, if I may take this, what happens is that you usually have a committee to review a particular bill.
Okay.
Or a law that you want to amend.
Yes.
And how it operates is you have a certain number. The majority, of course, comes from the government, and then you have a certain number that comes from the opposition, and it's usually amongst both houses. So you have a certain number from the lower house and a certain number from the upper house. And there's this book that guides us called the Standing Orders. So
Yes.
both the upper house and the lower house, the Senate and the House of Parliament, Houses of Representatives, have standing orders. So they tell you how many persons should be on committees.
Okay.
Now, the beautiful thing about committees is that apart from the bipartisan role that it plays, it allows anybody in the public sphere to participate. So these are usually joint select committees.
Okay.
So let's say we're looking at the NIBS bill. Perhaps that's a good example, Donna. The second
Yes, indeed. Considering that we ended at 1:20 a.m. the Saturday morning, yes.
and all of that, you know. But whatever bill you're looking at, you want the public to have an input. So you normally, the government or the ministry advertises that this bill is before the House and persons are welcome to send in their submissions. And you send your written submissions, but you also have an opportunity to present it to the committee and to take questions from the committee. So it's a very involved process. And as I said, the beautiful thing, it allows anybody from anywhere in Jamaica to participate in framing that bill. We may or may not accept your recommendation, but at least you have a seat at the table to share your views. And I think that is the beautiful thing about committees.
So my question to you, and I hope you.
Yes, dear. I see you want to say our.
Can a bill go straight to the Senate from anywhere, or it has to go to the House first? You only review things that go to the House first. Nothing can come into the Senate without the House.
We have had bills originate in the Senate with Minister of Foreign Affairs, I think, but that's not the normal course of things. The normal course of things is that it goes to the House of Representatives and then comes to the Senate.
Okay.
It's all, and then after the Senate makes the amendment, it actually goes back to the House before it goes to the Governor General, who has to sign it into law. But I wanted to tell you of an experience I had recently.
Yes, please.
Part of the Farms Act Joint Select Committee, and in that discussion, the government has proposed that you have mandatory life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for, you have to serve 15 years. I'm trying to explain it in a way that everybody can understand. So it's mandatory sentencing. So the judge has no discretion as to what number of years they can give a person who is found guilty.
Right.
There is mandatory sentencing also for somebody who actually is engaged in a shooting and as somebody who traffics in firearms. I have objected to the mandatory sentencing for somebody just caught with a gun. because I've said to them that in my experience, the fact that you have the gun doesn't mean that you have possession or control or custody. I've given an example of a taxi being stopped. 3 people are sitting in the back. A man has a gun, drops it in the woman's handbag. She can't protest. She really can't do anything.
So she's gonna do 15 years.
So there are consequences. And one senator spoke about an experience he had where the gun was found at the house where only the grandmother was, and she was put before the court. Now, the reason why I'm raising this is not because I want to give you an example, but because I want to show you how the diaspora engaged. Because I got a telephone call from a gentleman from the diaspora who came on the phone, I do not know who he is, and accused me of not supporting laws to deal with crime and guns. Okay. And we spoke for about 45 minutes in which I tried to explain to him my position and tried to explain to him that I was in fact supported by a government member of parliament who said, because she does criminal law. And she said, in spite of the fact that she might be going against government policy, she was supporting me. So it was a PNP position.
Okay.
And when we spoke, he ended up by asking me to ask the committee if they couldn't do a deal so that if that person pointed to who the gun came from or so in certain circumstances, then they would not be punished severely. He was very pleased that a senator took the time to explain the legislation to him and spent so much time with him. And I think that it is important for me to say this for 2 angles. One, the people in the diaspora are listening to what we're doing.
Yes.
And 2, once you are reasonable and you explain what it is all about and they come to an understanding, they will shift their position.
Yes. Gabriela, why was it that you think, go ahead. Go ahead, Sophie.
And what you should have, third thing you should have said was it underscores the importance of committees of parliament because it gives everybody an opportunity to.
Yes. That is true. You know how fond I am of joint select committees.
I wanted Gabriela to tell me why is it that she was chosen to be in the Senate? Is that a good question? I mean, no. I like it a lot.
Boy, Leo, that's a hard question. I remember when I just came, I asked Donna the same question.
Okay.
Yes, so she didn't give me the full answer. She said one day I will know.
Should I ask Donna? I'll get the other half. I'll get the other half from Donna. How's that?
There are certain things which you will never hear from me. And I tell her that at the appropriate time, she will know. But she doesn't need to know now. It is that she's poised to make a significant contribution to our country. She has that opportunity. She can lead, and she can lead by example. And Sophie and I have been there together for some time. So having Janice and Gabriela join us is really just a wonderful experience. We're enjoying the girl gang.
All right.
You know, Leo, what I will add, and I think Donna summed it up quite well, that there's an opportunity. And that was one of the things that I kept saying after I was appointed. You know, it's no mistake. It's really an opportunity to introduce, you know, some new blood into the political sphere and to also, you know, engender a sense with young people that they too can participate. I think, you know, my appointment signaled that for a lot of young people, because I got a lot of, you know, questions after that. How do I become a senator? How can I get involved in politics? What do you do? What's going on? So you can see that, you know, there are young people who started to pay attention a little bit more. So my hope is that, you know, over the years, more young people will become involved, you know, and more young people will aspire to be a part of the political process in this way.
Oh, that's a perfect answer. I like the answer. Where exactly are you now? Are you coming in from? That's where are they?
So let me check in. I'm in Mexico City.
Mexico.
Yes,
Mexico.
yes.
I hope you speak fluent Spanish, right?
Listen, I've been struggling, but I'm trying.
Where down Mexico? Where down Mexico? I mean, this
So,
is one of people. This is one of the perks. Young people, this is one of the perks of aspiring to be a senator or a member of parliament. Go ahead and tell us.
So I'm in Mexico for a meeting of political parties in the Caribbean and Latin America. We actually just finished a youth meeting. So young people from right across South America, Latin America, and the Caribbean, and North America, actually. And we were talking about developing a progressive agenda. So we're looking at the issues that affect young people from right across the region, and we're trying to propose some solutions to those issues. So further down in the year, we'll actually meet again for a conference to put forward this agenda. And in that space of time, we'll also be meeting with young people from the different countries, having roundtable talks, having some seminars, just to put together some ideas on how we can move the region forward. So Mexico, it's going great. It's a great chance to connect with other young people, to share best practices, to learn from them, and to just, be a little bit more fired up about the work that, there is to do.
But hold on, I thought you just joined the Senate. Oh, you sound so eloquent, and I thought you just joined the Senate. Janice, where are they?
Role models. I tell people all the time, it's really a privilege to sit among so many learned people. Yes. And Anati was saying this to butter them up, but they're really phenomenal women. And, just to see how they operate, not just in the Senate, but, in their professional lives, it's really, really an opportunity for me to, take on some of those lessons and grow a little bit more. And it's right across the parliament, because you meet so many people who are accomplished, so many people who have so much to share. And it's really it's a blessing for me as a young person to sit in a space with such great people,
Well, what did you do in school? In what was your major?
You're going to ask.
I'm not yet. All right. I'm trying to figure out how, I want people to learn that she.
Yes, but you're making us bad manner, because she's having so much fun out there.
Exactly.
True. Mexico, muy bien is all she's saying. Muy bien.
All right.
That's all.
So bad man, you're encouraging out here.
I want him to ask Janice where she is.
Hey, where you there, Janice? Where you there? Tell me.
I'm in Panama City.
Panama. Another Spanish. The Spanish too, right?
Spanish. And I am now very upset with myself that when I was in high school, I did not pay attention to my Spanish. And I want to use this opportunity to encourage all Jamaican young people to take Spanish seriously, because we have over the years tended to focus on the north of us. Yes. And there's so much that is going on in Latin America that we have so many opportunities as Jamaica, based on where we're positioned and and our economy, to collaborate and find opportunities in Latin America. It is mind-blowing. I've been to Chile and I had a similar experience, but now I'm here in Panama and I am just raring to go because of all that I'm seeing, and how I want to get back to Jamaica and see how we can begin to contemplate some of the things that we need to take seriously.
All right. So you know that they have a tape recorder where you can go and learn Spanish in a few minutes, right? So
yes, and there's Google Translate, but sometimes it's so hot and exciting that it's hard. I am in Panama City because I'm actually on my way to the DOMREP for a conference of Socialist International. Socialist International is a body of progressive parties across the world. And they're having the regional Latin American Caribbean conference being held in DOMREP. I just used the opportunity because I had the choice of transiting through, coming through here or Miami. And I said, why not Panama? And, but I'm looking forward to that meeting. I'm representing the PNP, of course. And my colleague, I'm meeting a colleague of mine there, Horace Daly, to meet with other progressive parties of the region. So Gabriella is doing one version. There are two groups meeting at the same time.
Oh,
And
okay.
right, but I think it is very important for the progressive political parties of the region to, as often as possible, come together, because we are in a very special time and place where, especially in this post-pandemic period, where it is important for parties that have our agenda and our guiding principles to see how we can better form ourselves in this era to be even more attractive to the voting populace. Because at the end of the day, political parties are in the business because they're in the business of governing. And it is our intention to form government. And in so doing, let us see what best practices we can learn from each other in order to better present ourselves and our agenda so that we can continue the work that we have set out to do. So I'm looking forward to those few days, the next few days, to see what I can garner from there, how I can network and make those connections that can not only improve my own path in politics, but for the betterment of our party and by extension, the betterment of our country.
I need you to do two things for me while you're in Panama. I need to know about Silver City, and I need to know what the Panama Canal look like. So please take some good pictures and things.
I
All
took
right?
some pictures today. I went to the Panama Canal today.
Oh, you did?
Mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing, eh?
Mind-blowing. But what I do know is that the 2 days that I've been here is too short, and I must return because I also must find the family that I understand I have here.
Yes.
Came as part of those who built the Panama Canal. So I'm coming back. So
Silver City. Then there's Silver City. Then there's Silver City.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Where are you, Sophia?
Neil,
Huh?
I mean,
Yeah, go ahead, man. Wait, no, you don't have to ask me to just jump in, please. Just jump in.
Not hearing Sophie.
yes, no,
We're
I
not
want
hearing
to
you.
say that what Jenny is, are you hearing me?
Yes, no, yes.
Are you hearing?
Yes.
Yes. And I want to say that what Gabriel and Janice have done is they have shown the fun side of politics. Regrettably, when people think about politics, they think about persons just at each other's throat and just saying disparaging things and going on a particular way in the parliament. But that's just one side. And the truth is that's in the minority because most politicians are friends. Sometimes my colleagues a particular representative in the lower house and they're probably like, oh, how come? And when I explained to them that when I was in law school, this person took care of me. I mean, she cooked for me. I was her little baby. And we have a long-standing friendship regardless of our political association. Most politicians, if not friends, are good associates.
Are you saying, Janice? Are you saying, Sophia? Sophia, hold on 1 second, Sophia. When me look on the floor and the going ons and coming ons, are you saying that there are people who are friends on both parties? Are you saying that? Oh my God.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In fact, every Friday, Sophie
That's
says
it. And
there are two people in the Senate,
Right.
very senior persons in the Senate. And Sophie will say, me not getting between them, because they're always at each other's throat on the Senate floor. And when they come out, it's a different story. So we don't get involved with that.
We leave that alone.
Yes.
We leave that alone.
I want to jump in to say that I'm really happy to hear that because too often we, the general population look on and we see and get an understanding. We probably don't see it per se, but we take away that, we're not supposed to like the other party or the other party not liking or cooperating with each other. And it is just so welcoming to hear.
It is. You're blowing my mind. You're blowing my mind, really.
There is friendship. There is genuine friendship and people living in peace. And so the people them out here need to stop being at war with each other, because
Absolutely.
In
everybody,
addition,
at the end of the day, we're all one. Leo, I just want to pause for a moment to read some messages that are popping up, because
Okay.
they're popping up.
Yes.
A lot of people are just saying hello. Anisha Linda says hello, everyone. Patricia Bond says hello, beautiful ladies, and Leo. Jesse says hello, everyone. Teresha says hi, everyone. And Lolita Cohen, who went to Clarendon College, says hi, everyone. Donna and Dan.
Why you have to call her name? Why you have to call her name? Huh?
you know, I wanted to add to that, you know, it's not just that they're people who have friendships across the aisle, but there's a genuine respect that also goes across. And
Okay.
it's important because yes, we have our political differences and we will approach things from a different angle and we will have different priorities, and that will never change because political parties differ on those bases. But there's a respect, and more so a respect for the process. What I've come to appreciate from this entire experience, that I don't even know if I will learn everything about it because it's ever evolving, although it is so rooted in tradition, is the process, you know, and the respect for the process and the importance that it places on how things move along. And it's simply fascinating.
Being the most experienced, these two persons, and I'd really like you to answer this question for me. What really is the difference between the two ideologies? What is the, can somebody just explain to me, what's the difference between the jail fees premise and the PNP's premise? Is that a tough one?
Yes.
Oh, I promise not to, but well, you know.
That is a very difficult thing to answer in a short time.
Yeah.
But I would say that fundamentally, what attracted me to the People's National Party is the fact that I was convinced that they put people first. That people was, the fact of what happened to people was at the center of their policies and their programs. And I benefited from those policies and those programs. So you feel that the party who really cares, and if you look at the slogans where you said, we put people first, power to the people, you know, those kinds of slogans reflect who the PNP really is. Because political parties have a personality, and the personality of the People's National Party is a personality that protects, cares, supports, empowers the people. They lift people up. They want everybody to be elevated. It's not just about a few. It's not prosperity for a few, a handful of people to dominate the political scene and to become economically superior and better off. They want to lift everybody along the journey. And that's what I love. I really love the fact of how empowering this party is and how people-centered it is. So
I guess you can't speak about the other party. You can only speak on your party. I understand. I understand. I understand why it's hard. All right. Sophia, when you became a senator, what was it that you thought, triggered that?
Well, I'm not quite sure, but I would say that I started out in the politics sometime in 1997 in the YO, and I went through the ranks from just a regular member to being a member of the executive council, working with the YO as legal advisor when I finished law school. And I want to believe that my engagement and involvement at those levels left some positive impression on persons.
Okay.
When I returned from my master's, I became the region secretary, which is a very important role, for all of the mighty region 3, which is Kingston and St. Andrew. And again, it gave me an opportunity to learn and to share best practices and to develop And I believe that it is through those experiences and those interactions that person thought that it would be useful to have someone like me in the Senate. But the real reason behind it, I will perhaps one day ask former Prime Minister Cynthia Miller. But whatever the reason, though, I do believe that it's an honor. I remember when former Prime Minister Cynthia Miller called and asked me, and I spoke to my mom about it, and she said to me that, you know, Sophia, it is such a great honor to serve your country in that way. And whatever you do, just always remember the values that you have been taught. And remember people. Anything you can help people. And you know, as I mentioned earlier, that has been the driving force. I don't think she got up and decided to adopt me because of that. She really thought that she could make a difference in my life. And she believed that every opportunity I get in any sphere, I should also use it to impact someone's life positively. And so whatever the reason, for me, there's a purpose. And the purpose for me is how can I use this opportunity to impact positively people's lives?
That's a great answer.
Strange enough, you're not going to ask me, and I'm the only person who can be absolutely clear about why I was chosen.
I am going to ask you. I am going to ask you. I'm turning to you. But your question, the question to you is kind of twofold, right? So I'm going to ask you that
I can tell
question.
you why other people chosen. I'm keeping it a secret from Gabriella.
Oh my God. You make me lose my train of thought.
All right, Leo, head I take him. Lorna Hamilton says, Leo, politicians fight on the floor and later they sit and eat and drink. They ask each other how the kids are doing in school and so on. One of our usual listeners, Carl, says that the JLP is akin to a particular party and the PNP is akin to the other party. One is for the wealthy and the other for the masses. I'll skip it for the rest of it. I'll tell him I'm going to put him in the corner.
Please, Donna, just do your best to answer that question for me, please.
Well, I can tell you,
Yes.
I ran against, in Central Clarendon against Mike Henry.
Oh, so you came in as an MP, not an.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
That in that constituency, they couldn't find anybody who would run against him. Nobody. So I was not afraid. In those days, politics was different. The politics was about gunshot and burn down house and that sort of situation.
Yes.
And unfair practices, you know, stuff ballot box and shoot up people's car and so on. It was horrible. So Michael Manley had made it absolutely clear that no losing candidate belonged in the Senate. Mike had won the election prior to by thousands of votes, I think 3,500. And I was going so good until Carl Stone said I was leading him by 1,500. Because nobody took me seriously. I was a child. Nobody took me seriously. But I was doing what I needed to do. I was doing the work. So I lost. I lost by 400 and something votes. I didn't expect to be appointed to the Senate. So Michael couldn't find me. Luckily, my first husband, we were separated then, knew my habits and could find me and said, Michael wanted to come up to his house. I said, what Michael want me to come to his house for? And he says, I don't know, but he say you must come now. So I didn't expect to be invited to be a senator, but he said, he was so impressed with me as a young politician and with what I had done and how I had served, so wanted me to be in the Senate. Leo, you have to hear this. So I'm my first day, ceremonial opening of Parliament. Guess what I wear? Green and black. How I am, I don't look through at things through that lens.
Yes.
So when Mike Henry turned to me and said, so what you doing in our colors? I said, oops. And I said, we took your government. And I listen, inside of me, I was dying because I was so embarrassed. The next one, man, red from head to toe. And I was actually the deputy president of the Senate, but never got a chance, Sophie, to sit in the chair. Because Michael said he wanted me to be a parliamentary secretary. So I never, you know how I wanted to sit in that chair?
Oh my
And our
God.
share was so high.
Hey.
And I wanted to see how I would fit it.
Here's my question. It's for all of you. Anyone can answer. You know, most times when you talk to the layman, the regular persons, they say you are a good person before you turn politician. But then when you turn politician, you're corrupt. So I need an answer.
You
Tell me.
know,
Yeah, Janice start already. Hold on there. Hold on. She a laugh off her head. So tell me why that's so funny to you.
You know, it's amazing that my experience of politicians is so far from what this view that so many people seem to have.
Yes.
I grew up with my father as a politician, a counselor. I'm probably what you would call a cradle PNP, and I've dubbed myself that because I remember I hear stories from my mother that when she was pregnant with me, she was campaigning for my father.
Oh
And she said, "No baby, not born right now." So, so I'm born into it, and I'm born into a family of service. So whether it is as him being a counselor, or my uncle being a community activist, or my mother working with my father, being his supporter and being the one who she was such a bad woman that many people in the community call her Madame Rose. She was very much instrumental in him being a good politician. And all of it was done in order to uplift people. And you will always hear me mention of Granville, and my uncle always talking about Granville, and my family talking about Granville, because I understand the community and the importance of community and the importance of political representation. And that's all I know. So this business of corruption and those who go into politics and they're only going to get, yes, there are those who do it. But I think for the most part, politicians across the world, but particularly in Jamaica, go in it with the intention, and they work towards that, to improve the lives of people. I'm going to be partial to the PNP. And obviously, as Donna said, our party is people-centered, and we have always developed policies that are about uplifting the masses of people, providing social services and support, and the legislation and infrastructure to cause for people to move from one level to the next and to the next. And that will always guide what I do. And funny enough, I never saw myself as a politician. I saw myself as somebody who worked in politics. But I'm coming off the view now and realizing that I'm in fact a politician. And when somebody asks, "What do you do?" I'm a politician. My role today is being a senator, and I'm playing the role in that part. I've worked on political campaigns, I've worked in community organizations, and I've worked in government. So I understand and appreciate the different elements. And really, we're all here to make the lives of Jamaicans, including ourselves, better off, because when the whole is doing well, it means all of us are individually doing well.
Diana, I see you.
Yes, I wanted to just say, Carl says brilliant. I love listening to these ladies, such intellectual qualities. But I want us to say to the group here, to us, the senators present, how you have just made things seem normal. That being in the Senate is something, is an honor for you, to be serving the people, and you see it as serving the people. It's an excellent example, just listening to you, of servant leadership, where you guys are truly living it. None of you had it handed to you or came from families that made you think that you are entitled to such appointments. And you are here serving with impeccable servant leadership. And I want to just celebrate that. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Diana.
Yeah, what time this thing, how long this goes?
We have some more minutes. But I wanted to hear Sophia's response, because I'm sure she heard that kind of talk before. How did you deal with that? And I want to hear you, Gabby, because it's important. I want to hear you. Go ahead, Sophia.
Yes, I really wanted to respond to it because, I recall one day and I was sitting on the veranda at my mom's house, and I was not yet in the Senate. and somebody came and they used those words, all politicians are corrupt.
Yeah.
And in all my life, I don't recall my mom getting upset. That was one of the few. And she shared with the person, as a senior, because she was very senior in the public service, senior civil servant, the number of retired politicians that she has had to make petitions for because they have lost their homes, because they're ill and they don't have no health benefit, because they're literally paupers. And in listening to her, I came to the conclusion that there is a very negative perception, and there are some reasons for it. It is true, but generally, politicians are persons who just want to make a difference in people's life. I can't tell you the number of politicians that I know, and Donna knows some of them, who would take their salary every month, take it into their constituencies, and ensure that children have food, to ensure that they have their books for school, to ensure that school fees are paid, to ensure that parents can afford to have a roof over their head, to send it to the hardware store to get zinc. That is the reality of a significant number of politicians. They just don't earn enough to deal with all the needs in the communities. And so, when I hear people say politicians are corrupt, I often ask, how many politicians do you really know? And have you ever taken the time to sit and to talk with them and to hear their stories? Mm-hmm. And it's just regrettable that as a country, there are a number of persons who feel that way. But I know that generally politicians enter politics because they want to make a difference in people's lives. And they have done so, whether because they have sacrificed themselves or because they have used their CDF in a very creative way. But they have done so honestly, without any corruption. Mm. And the other thing I want to say as well is we also have to be very careful how we say that, because yes, what it does is that it prevents persons who really have something to give to the development of the country through politics from getting involved, because they don't want to be branded. They don't want to be seen as corrupt. I'm sure Gabby being the youngest one.
And that, yes, it's very important. Yes.
I'm corrupt, because that's what people have about politicians. But the more she got involved, she realized that people, you come with your own values and you don't allow anything to change you. You stay strong and steadfast in what you know to be right and wrong. And Gabby, and I'm using Gabby because she's the youngest amongst us. She will also tell you that she has seen herself firsthand what politicians have to do and the sacrifices they make. And, she perhaps is best able to debunk this thing about politicians being so because of the experiences she has had and just interfacing with them. And I want to encourage everyone who's listening to take the time and talk to politicians. I mean, Donna, I know, gets a lot of calls every day. Donna, can you talk to us? We're doing an interview on something. Can you? And I think it's important because part of it is people don't know what politicians do. They don't know what is involved. They don't even know the salary. And because they don't know these things, then they come to a particular conclusion. And it may be useful for us to just take the time to talk some more. Like, seminars and sessions such as this one is very useful because we have a chance to talk to people so they see the human side and they get a better understanding of what politicians do. And I am a politician, I'm a proud one. And I believe that for the years that I've been involved in the Senate, I have to be my mother proud, and I will continue to do that because you have your values, and you have your values and you hold straight to it, and I think that is what is important.
Gabby, was that a fear of yours when you came in, and as that changed? Or tell me.
I didn't have that fear, to be honest.
Okay, yes.
All right. So when I was appointed, it's the social media age and everybody's going off and they're making their different comments. And I remember one of them, somebody said, you're too pretty for politics and you're going to turn corrupt. And I was like, oh, you arrived there. And I thought about it and I said, I determine what kind of politician I want to be. And I say politician because yes, you have to own it, you know, you're a politician. So I realized from early out that, as Sophie said, it's about values. It's about what you believe. It's about right and wrong and standing in that truth. So for me, you know, I grew up around my grandmother who used to take me to walk out the whole of Savlamar to go visit old people. And she would bring me to this person to take them blood pressure, and we would talk to them and pray for them. So from an early age, I knew that service was a big part of me. And I think I've carried that through every phase of my life, actually. And I said, why should it now be any different? So for me, at the core of being, you know, a parliamentarian is really the service. And Sophie said it perfectly. You know, a lot of times people don't even see the sacrifices. Sometimes, you know, I hear the story of politicians and how much they put on the line, and people would never guess. So when you look at not just the sacrifice, financial sacrifices, but the sacrifices of time, sometimes the sacrifices of your reputation, because people will just try to come out of nowhere and smear you, you know, for political gain or whatever. So it's a huge sacrifice. And especially, you know, as somebody so young, you know, you're just starting off in life. It's easy to be in a position where, you know, you get stumped out even before you start. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, it's true.
It is a sacrifice, but at the end of the day, I think it comes back to values. I think it comes back to who you are. And for me, a big part of it is also that I know that I have people watching. And not just, you know, for the sake of putting on a show, but I understand the huge responsibility that it is to represent people. And I'm coming from, you know, a community where who in your family going to be a senator? Like, come on, when does that happen? So there's this huge responsibility to really show up and to show up good, you know? So I have that in the back of my mind every time I stand to represent, you know, every time I show up, that I have to be, you know, as close as possible to my best self and do my best, because there are people watching, there are people who are looking for inspiration, there are people looking for empowerment, there are people looking for an example, you know, so it's very important for me to keep that up.
Again, me think say you're not being truthful because it sound like you're in the Senate long time ago. That not making sense to me that you your point of view so strong. You're very good. I must admit. Thank you so much for that. You're really, really good. But I'd like Mother to wrap up that part of the segment there for us. Right? You understand what I'm asking, right?
Well, let me say this.
Yes.
I grew up hearing my father, who was a political activist. Both my parents were, in spite of the fact that they were teachers. I grew up hearing my father say, PNP people have integrity. I was taught that PNP people valued education and they were honest persons with integrity. I have never felt that politicians are corrupt. I have been mentored by someone like O.D. Ramtali, for example. You cannot say O.D. Ramtali and corruption in the same breath. I have seen people like Winston Jones of blessed memory, who left politics as poor people, who had spent their entire lifetime serving people and left without anything at all. I know people like Foggy Mullins. I could go on and on. It's a myth to associate politicians with corruption. What one needs to do is to identify those who are clearly corrupt and ensure that they never get voted back in again. It's the people who determine what type of politician they have. It's a people's position. If they keep on voting for persons, I say, oh, every politician thieves, so they keep on voting for the thieves. Then thieves will dominate, because there are thieves. There are people who only go to enrich themselves and think that power means exactly that. But for the most part, I can say sincerely that politicians go in there because they're motivated by a strong desire to change the world, to change their world, to change Jamaica, to transform this nation. We love this country, Leo. We love this country, and we only want it to be better, and we want the people to be better. And we know that when we look at a youth on a corner, we don't see a gunman. We see a youth who needs love and encouragement and nurturing. That's how we view that youth. So we want to talk to him to bring out the best in him. We don't want to lock him away. We don't want to make him suffer. We don't want to force him into a position where he sees criminality and badness as the only way out. We don't want to leave him to find family within gangs. We want him to look at us and see that we are family, and that we can bring him into a space where everybody can grow and everybody can prosper.
As the youngest politician, I'm going to leave you for the last, right? We're going to take a minute and a half from each of you to say whatever you want to say to the general public right now before the wrap show up, right? So I want to choose Janice first because she's been quiet, but she's a quiet storm. All right, so Janice, and then Diana, I want to wrap it up all for me after Gabby's done, okay? All right, so Janice.
It's been just almost 2 years of being asked by Dr. Peter Phillips to serve in this capacity. An amazing honor, and I now recognize the importance of, well, I can say that I ended up here because not of what happened yesterday, but how I have been working in my community and participating in the process for over 20 years. And sometimes, and I want to use that as a way for people to realize that this tendency that we have in this new era where everything is instant is something that we must try to do away with. And those who might see the Senate as this glamorous thing, and it's not about the glamour. Yes, we try to look good when we go there. We're not going to lie and say no. We're going to put ourselves together.
I like her.
But the most important thing is that we are sitting in those chairs because we're there to serve the people. It's an honor and a privilege. There are only 21 of us in the country who serve in that capacity. And therefore I take it with great responsibility. I have been fortunate to sit amongst 7 other persons who every day I learn from them. And we are led, yes, in this case, our leader, as we are sitting here with her right now, she may not be the leader of opposition business in the Senate, but she has been our nurturer and the one who gently suggests things for us that we must do. And we recognize that she's gently suggesting it.
I heard that word. All right.
It is my intention, as I am the only parliamentarian who is in Western Jamaica for the People's National Party. It has never happened before, and it makes my job even more awesome, where the PNP does not have anybody in the lower house in all of Western Jamaica. And so whilst I have been given the responsibility to shadow the tourism portfolio, I also take it as a great responsibility to speak on behalf of not just Montego Bay, Western Jamaica, but more so Montego Bay. I tell you that I'm here in Panama on my way to Domrep, and I've seen a lot of things here that I want to see changed in Montego Bay. And to use the examples that I've seen here in Panama, and I will continue to advocate for Montego Bay, to continue to advocate for Western Jamaica, and for us to do better, and for us to be able to go and do more and really live to our true potential. So I hope that this role that I'm playing here in the Senate will lead to that for Western Jamaica and for Jamaica at large. And so I'm just going to do my best in this seat that I'm in.
Well, go Granville, go Irwin, go Irwindale, go Pit 4, all of them. That's my neck of the woods, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. All right, Sophia.
Leo, in 2013, when I was asked to sit in the Senate, I knew that my focus would be on making a contribution for the betterment of the country. But then in 2016 and again in 2019, I decided to become a mommy. Two boys.
Oh, when were the which year was that?
2016.
2019.
And
Okay.
God's son, by the way. Jonathan is Donna's godson.
But my son.
And Auntie Donna. But Leo, the thing about it is, when you become a mom, it changes a lot. It changes your view, it changes your perspective.
Yes.
And every day I wake up, I consider what kind of world I am leaving behind for my two boys. I consider the kind of education that I want them to have so they can be the best that they can be. I consider how I conduct myself so they have a positive role model. So when they go to school, no child can laugh at them to say your mommy did this or your mommy did that. But they can come in and say, boy, your mother a shot man, yes. And they
yeah.
and I know how I can make the world better for them, how I can ensure that they don't have to hurt or that they don't have to feel pain or that they don't have to want or need. And it's because of that quest to give them that kind of life that I believe that my own view on politics has changed substantially. So for me, politics is not just how I can make Nathan and Jonathan's world better, but how I can make every child's world better as I would want Nathan and Jonathan. It's about how I can be a positive role model for every child as I am for Nathan, Charles, and Jonathan. And I believe that keeping that at the back of my head every day, it gives me a recommitment to my purpose to uphold the laws of Jamaica, to ensure that when I go to the Senate, I don't just pass a law because they're rushing it through, but because I believe that this law is the best law that can be devised in the circumstances, and that this is the best law that is going to lift our people out of poverty and into real progress. And it is indeed an honor. It is an honor. It is a challenging honor, I must tell you, because, like now I'm doing this live from home and you do not hear anything say, I wonder where's Nathan and Jonathan. That's because
I was wondering.
Sure.
I wonder.
All right, great. Thank you.
There are days when, I want to, but I can't because I'm in politics. But it is lovely. It is good when I see that the efforts made in politics have brought some positive impact. And that is what I want to continue doing as long as the party leader of the day will have me serve.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mother. You get that name from me, no, because the time you say I get that, I just Mother.
I've always wanted to serve.
Yes.
People have always been at my heart. Diana has known me for many, many years, and he can tell you that I really do put people first in everything. Sometimes when I'm in my office and people come in, I say, God, I know you send them for some therapy, but you have to send some money too sometimes, because I spend a lot of time with people when they are in need. In fact, when I was a candidate for the PNP, I used to counsel JP people who had marital problems and would come to me to talk about it. I used to represent them because they said, well, we trust you and we have confidence. I have always wanted to make a contribution to Jamaica. Michael Manley inspired me when I was in third form, and I realized that there was a role for people like me who wanted to really do something. A young black woman could step up and do something for her country. I've never done enough. I've been around for a long time, but I don't feel that I've fulfilled my purpose because there's still so much that I want to do and so much that I have it left in me to give. I genuinely want to transform people's lives. I want to show people a different way of being. And I think a political platform really helps you to do this. I have served with these three magnificent women. And when I hear them talk about me and the role I play in their lives, I literally want to tear up. Yes. Because I'm glad that I have been able to make a positive impact. And I just want them to go out and do the same thing. And I want to expand my reach. So I'm a servant politician. I'm a politician. I'm a servant politician. I give meaning to that word because that is my strongest desire. And I'm honored always to be called upon to serve.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Really, really, really nice. Thank you. Thank you. Gabby, you're always ready. You're always ready.
I want to underscore a similar sentiment as mother. That it's such a privilege to serve. Growing up, I never expected to serve in a capacity like this, but when opportunity comes knocking, you answer the door, you answer the call. And I'm extremely happy that when Dr. Phillips called me on that day, before I answered, I asked him, I was like, you sure it's me you're calling? But I'm extremely glad that, even in the face of fear, even in the face of uncertainty, that I stepped forward into that purpose. And I'm extremely happy that I have this platform, I have this ability, I have this space to contribute to Jamaica. And I will tell you, Leo, that, for a good while when I just came into the Senate, I was like, how am I going to keep up? And I looked at it and I said, boy, everybody coming from here and everybody in this for a long time. And something in my head just said, but you are prepared for a time such as this. Yes. And I looked at it and I said, my contribution will not be the same as Donna or Janice or Sophia, but there is a huge contribution that I can make. And I need to focus on doing my best, making my own impact, using my own voice, my own abilities to really create a better Jamaica. And the truth is, we're moving into this new and exciting phase of our collective history. And I'm happy to be on the cusp of that. I'm happy to be in rooms where decisions are being made. I'm happy to have a hand, in creating a Jamaica that I think we all can be proud of. Sometimes, for me, it worries me sometimes, when you're in the Senate and you hear everything that is happening and you're like, whoa, we really, really, this is serious work. At first, it used to really bother me because I'm like, whoa, this is tough. But over time, I realized that big ships turn slowly.
Whoa.
Ships turn slowly.
I mean, you don't want it, but it's good.
Big ships turn slowly, and it might look like right now, there's not a lot to be happy about in Jamaica. It might look like things really are going bad. It might look like the work is in vain, but I know, and I feel it that somewhere down the line, somewhere hopefully very soon, there will be a Jamaica that we can celebrate. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to continuing to play my role in creating that Jamaica. And I'm just very happy and privileged to be in this space and to make my contribution to Jamaica Land We Love.
Wow, that's really nice. I'm really thanking you. But I'm going to have the young lady Diana wrap up each of you and wrap up the show. Thank you so much.
I thank you so much. Just a few quick comments. Lorna says, Senator Motley, thank you for speaking of the integrity of people like Winston Jones and Seymour Mullins. There are other comments, but I want to start with Gabriel. Gabriel says that big ship turns slowly and sometimes they hit the pier. And that's
oh God! Oh Jesus Christ!
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Self-reflection is a humbling process, and it has been a humbling process just sitting in your presence here this evening and have you share. There are things that you have shared that I know that a lot of Jamaicans, and particularly younger Jamaicans, are not aware of: the composition of parliament, the upper house, the lower house, and the distinctions between the duties that each performs. And there is a clear need for us to get back to civics. Donna mentioned a new term, and it is servant politician.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Put it to all of us that here is something for us to write about: servant politician, where there is no distinction between the words. They are not separate, they're related. So there perhaps is a hyphen between them both. You're serving as a politician. And as a politician, you must strive, you must come to this position wanting to serve. And I clearly get it from each of you who have shared here. Each of you senators, I thank you so much for the opportunity. I'll tell you the truth. Leo didn't invite me here, but I know the code. So I'm and it never work. And I put it in again and it worked. And I say,
the next time you say watch.
I thank you, and I'm sure the audience says it, that they've enjoyed the discussion. I think that is something that we need to do again. People need to be able to ask more questions, to hear your thoughts, to recognize that you are ordinary people just as us. The youngest senator, powerful words, says Anisha. She enjoyed it fully. As for me, I'll do some research. The new concept, the new word is servant
and politician.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you. I'm the only man on here.
Yes.
I never recognized that before. Thank you so much, ladies, and I'm sure
Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for inviting us. And I know it's the first time that all of us have been on a program together, and I like the energy and the synergy. And you got a chance to see each one of us differently. So I thank you for extending this invitation to us.
You're man all the time. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. Bye.